When people think of electronics recycling, many of them imagine piles of old computers, CRT monitors, and various peripherals and accessories. Today, while mobile devices are increasingly popular in electronics refurbishing and recycling facilities, and CRT monitors are rapidly dwindling in quantity, desktop computers remain popular. Desktop computers are any computer that is not a laptop, tablet, or handheld device. They've been manufactured by the millions since the early 1980s. They all contain the same basic components, and their design has been consistent across different manufacturers and models. The two main types of desktops are the standard box with connectors for a monitor, keyboard, and other peripherals, and all-in-one desktops that include a flat screen within the device. This video will not cover sorting, testing, or repair of desktop computers, but it will illustrate the basic processes in their disassembly. Let's look at our first example. Desktop computers usually contain two focus materials, batteries and circuit boards. A small lithium battery is located on the motherboard, and circuit boards include the motherboard itself and any peripheral boards, such as graphics cards or network boards. A few older all-in-one computers also have mercury bulbs in their display screens. Desktop computers also contain data storage devices. 5¼ inch hard drives are very common, but there are also desktop computers with solid-state drives. At this facility, as materials are removed, they are placed on a sorting conveyor, then sorted into individual gaylords. Disassembly begins with removal of the cover and various plastic parts, then fans are removed and put on the conveyor. The aluminum heatsink is then removed, followed by the screws holding the power supply. Wires are unplugged, and the power supply is removed. The optical drive is next, then the hard drive, which is put aside for data sanitization. The in-out ports and their wiring is removed, followed by the RAM on the motherboard, which is put into its own container. The main processor chip is removed and set aside. Then, the lithium button battery is pried loose from the motherboard and placed into a daily collection bucket. All remaining wires in the computer are removed, then the screws holding the motherboard. With the motherboard on the sort conveyor, the empty case is recycled with sheet iron. At this facility, the hard drive, RAM, and processor chip are removed by the intake technicians before being sent for disassembly, and the technician sorts the remaining materials into various containers as they are removed. The fan and plastic parts are removed first, then peripheral boards are unplugged from the motherboard. When the optical drive is removed, it is checked for any disk that might be in the unit, and a small controller board is removed. The power supply is removed with the wiring harness, followed by any remaining wires and the in-out connectors, which are placed into small component sorting containers. As before, the motherboard is the last to be removed. As the case is placed into a scrap metal bin, the processor chip holder is also removed from the motherboard, along with the lithium button battery. The motherboard is inspected for a final time to conclude the process. All-in-one desktop computers are more complex to disassemble. Their design and construction vary by manufacturer, and models from the same manufacturer can change over time, especially with their data storage devices. In this example, the solid-state memory, which looks like this, has been removed by the intake department. The glass screens on these devices are sometimes glued and are sometimes magnetic. The screen is carefully pried away and removed. The key to disassembling these computers is to work layer by layer from the front toward the back of the case. The process begins by removing the screws that hold the display screen in place. The aluminum case is bent to allow access to the side screws of the screen, which are removed. The display screen is pried out of the case and set aside for recycling. More screws are removed on the top layers of components or the support frame. This will probably require multiple bit sizes for the different screws. Each board is removed by unplugging or cutting the connector cables. More screws are removed as new layers are revealed. The optical drive is removed next, followed by fans and additional frame material, and eventually the motherboard. Some models have hard drives which are also removed for sanitization. The motherboard contains the processor chip, a lithium battery, several heat sinks, and the small SSD memory chip. On this model, the bottom edge of the motherboard holds the RAM sticks, which are also removed. As this process finishes, the other fan and speakers are removed. The case is checked for small circuit boards to be removed. And finally, the power button is removed, which contains a small circuit board. The aluminum case can be recycled, and the removed components sent for subsequent processing steps. More videos showing different processes used by electronics reuse and recycling facilities are available in the R2 knowledge base on the SERI website.